Howdy, howdy, howdy. Another good Monday evening to all of y'all. Welcome to Cliff Notes Live episode. I think it's 135 plus or minus. Yeah, you lose track after. Someone's going to come back and say, oh, you've been off by a couple of digits for a year. Whatever. We're calling it episode 135. I hope y'all are doing fantastic. Before we go any further, a big old SKD 143. Love my wife, love my kids. Love the reality TV fans out there, especially you guys that are watching live or watching on replay. I love the USA. I love Canada. I love freedom. I hope y'all are doing great. Happy belated Canada Day to those neighbors up north. Angie, I know you're out there, maybe a few others. So happy Canada Day to you. Happy almost 4th of July to those of us a little bit further south. So, yeah, this week or this year worked a little easier for you Canadians, right? 4th of July on Tuesday is kind of rough. Monday, today's kind of an in-between, right? So we've got that. Whereas up in Canada, today's the 3rd, so Saturday was y'all's Canada Day. Perfect. That's a happy day to all of y'all, wherever you may be. All right, before we talk anymore, I figure I'd talk all about 4th of July, a little bit of Big Brother where we can as well, and a few stories and everything. But before I do that, I just want to check, see who's out there. Say howdy to all of y'all real quick. Amanda Lowe is out here. Amanda sent me a really nice message. So, Amanda, thank you for that. Amanda Lowe, Marilyn Sutherland. Hey, Marilyn. Keith, Franken, Jake the Horror Movie Geek, Mark Taylor. Ma is angry out there. Ma, how are you? Let's see. Who else do I have? Oh, y'all been talking a lot. Brian Hostetler, Brian, how are y'all? Y'all been talking a lot before I even came on board, right? Angie Hung. Happy Canada Day to you, Angie. And let's see who we've got on here. I think Andy W as well. Zachary Weiss, Zachary. Howdy. REM, Wyatt Garrett, and Michelle Moore. And I think that's about it. If I missed any of y'all, hey, post a question. Give me something and we'll talk about it as well. Again, a little open-ended tonight, but we'll talk a little 4th of July, little fireworks. And I say fireworks, all I think of is Katy Perry nowadays. But before we go any further, real quick, especially now that we're less than a month from Big Brother starting up. I'm so excited. But with that being said, it's a perfect time. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so. So as I start doing these live feed updates, you'll get the notification as soon as they drop. You know, last year it was tough because I would stay up watching the live feeds overnight and try to do a recap. But those goofballs last year, they never slept. They, in fact, I mentioned it to Turner. I just did a little DM with him, talked to him a little bit. I said, God, they didn't make y'all get up at the same time they made us get up. So y'all tended to sleep or stay awake all night long. So it's always interesting. Where do I call the endo? Do I wait till 6, 7 o'clock in the morning and then do my recap so I can post it so people maybe get a chance to see it before they're going to work or as they're getting ready to work, which is what I try to do. But sometimes there's big stuff going on right around 6 or 7 o'clock before everyone calls it at night. So the short story to that is that you never know exactly when one of these recaps is going to drop. But if you're subscribed to my channel, if you've turned on notifications, you'll get that notification as soon as I drop one of the episodes. So keep that in mind. Just a little hint there. And you can hit the thumbs up while you're out there as well. So there you go. All right, guys. What? Big day tomorrow, right? Kind of the one good thing, even though Canada Day was on a Saturday, the beauty about 4th of July on a Tuesday is you just get a really long extended weekend out of it, right? I know some people had to work, but even those who were working, kind of half day kind of stuff, right? So yeah, it's going to be fun. Let me look at y'all's comments and we'll talk about some of my stuff I've going on. Not enough coffee in the world. Hi. I love that login ID. You know, growing up, I didn't drink a lot of coffee. Then I got out in the oil field. I was working long hours and suddenly coffee, I hated the taste, but the effects it had on me were pretty good. Now that I've traveled all over the world, I love coffee. I love trying out coffee in different parts of the world. My favorite's Arabic coffee, Turkish coffee from the Middle East. But anyway, howdy. Welcome aboard. I love the login name, obviously, but welcome aboard. Glad to have you. Keith Franken had a great first week of work. Congratulations. I didn't really doubt it, but I'm glad you did. And your brother's birthday is on Wednesday. He turned 17. Well, happy birthday to Keith Franken's brother. And props to you for having a good first week. starting off on the right foot's perfect. So you can do great. It's gonna be fantastic. Mobs is saying your dad's birthday is on the 7th. He turns 55. The 50s are a wonderful time of life. So happy birthday, Ma, to your dad. Please tell him that Cliff, another 50-year, says happy birthday to you. I hope he has a blast on his special day and enjoys every single bit of it. All right, Mark Taylor is saying happy 4th. Any news on Big Brother? It's less than a month. Yeah, no. If y'all heard anything, let me know, because I was doing a little checking real quick. Now, Brian Hoster says house guests will be kidnapped on July 19th. See, I love going out to you guys because y'all are picking up on stuff that I hadn't heard yet. I had not heard that, but that makes sense. That's about right. So 19th, the show actually starts on the 2nd, gives them 11, 13, about 2 weeks, which is a little bit longer than I spent in sequester before going into the house. But that seems about right, especially in the day in COVID and all of that, because I think it's not just COVID. I think that they may be willing to keep the house guests sequestered for just a little bit longer for anything, be it the common cold or measles. They actually had some cases of malaria that popped up. I want to say in South Florida. It's always Florida, right? They had some cases of malaria pop up, which we haven't had in the United States in forever and a day. So, yeah, one more reason to watch out for the mosquitoes, as though you need any more reasons, right? They're brutal down here. I talk here and there about wanting to go on to Naked and Afraid just to prove myself and all of that. The cold would be rough. The mosquitoes would be right behind it. You see some of these episodes where they get 1,000 or so bites. They don't have any spots left on their skin where something hadn't already bitten them. How miserable would that be? But anyway, getting back to the original. Yeah, 2 weeks sounds about right. Now, here's the thing. I doubt it's changed that much for my season and the way we were kidnapped. We weren't all kidnapped on a single day because they wanted to film the little intros when they came and grabbed you and all that. So I feel like for us, we were spread out over maybe a week or so, 4, 5, 6 days, something like that. I think right after I was snatched, I think that the crew went up to New York and grabbed Tommy because Tommy said that they'd said something about they'd just come from Texas or something. So, I don't think it's all July 19th. That may be the starting date. It may be the final date, but it certainly makes sense as a target date. So just think right now. So that's the 19th. Today's the 3rd. 16 days, just a little over 2 weeks. There are 16, actually more than 16. It's probably 18, 19, 20. I don't know how many alternates Big Brother actually has. Well, we were never told, but there's 18, 19, 20 people that are all packing up, looking through their strategies, probably just going through Reddit and YouTube, any source they can find for any advice, any hints, any strategies. I hope so, right? I want people in there that are a little prepared and trained and taking this thing seriously. They are getting ready to embark on the experience of their life. Nerves. God, I remember sitting there thinking, what am I doing going on to this show? I must have every day for the month before I went on questioned myself, is this really what you want to do? But I wasn't going to back out at that point in time. But I remember thinking, God, I could go on there. I could embarrass myself. I could go home on day number 1. I could, you just don't know how it's all going to turn out and how your life is going to change as a result of doing that show. So it's a mix of excitement. It's a mix of fear. For us, it was also the consideration that CBS was going to be sending a crew to our house filming. So we're trying to make sure everything was ready here. So in addition to packing, we're just doing little honeydews and all that kind of stuff. It was an exciting week or month or so getting ready for it. So whoever's out there, if you're watching this, call me or send me a DM. I'll give you some insider scoop on what you need to be prepared for. But yeah, I'm excited for them. I better be getting my sleep now because I sure as heck am not going to be getting my sleep here before too long. So, all right. Well, thank you for that information. Brian, I didn't know that. There hadn't been a whole lot else, Big Brother. They released a new promo for it, which I think showed the little box with the 2 keys in it and a little Zing bot next to them. Yeah, I don't know what that means. There's also been a promo, I think it just came out yesterday or the day before, with Julie Chen kind of introducing Big Brother from, I think, season 1, maybe season 2, one of the earliest seasons, explaining how it works. And it seemed like it was a little bit more serious. Survivor being a fall and spring show seems like they're a little more serious. During our show, we're kind of the slapstick stuff. Some of the competitions we do, things like that, isn't taken nearly as seriously. But the way Julie described it and everything seems like it's more serious. Maybe that means some throwbacks to some of the old competitions. I know a lot of people are upset that they showed the box with the 2 keys in it instead of, some of you may remember, there was an old wheel, and one person would draw a key and say, so and so, you're safe. They turn the key over to that person. That person would take their key out or next key out. And so you kept eliminating people until there were 3 left. The last person would remove a key, and then you know who the two nominees were. A little bit more tension, a little bit more drama when they did it like that. But it also took a little bit longer, and I guess the producers decided they wanted to spend those extra couple of minutes doing something else. I liked it, and so a lot of people were disappointed to see that little key box, but it is what it is. I gotta say, when I was, I don't know if I've told you this before, when I was HOH, and I had to nominate 2 people, here's the way it worked. I think I can say this. I'm gonna say it anyway, so I hope so. Here's the way it worked. All the people in the house had to go into one of the two back bedrooms. They didn't say you have to go to this one or this one. It's whoever wanted to go to which room, as long as you were more or less spaced out. So everyone had to go into those back bedrooms and sit there, very quiet, looking very sincere, very concerned, very solemn. And while they did that, then I guess they had cameramen behind the glass that panned around so they could show them all worried while you're playing the dramatic music. While they were doing that as HOH, I was told to go look in front of the memory wall and evaluate, consider who I was going to put up. Well, I already knew I was putting up Jack and Mickey at that point in time, but they still want to get that moment. So I stood there and I looked and thought about it. Once I did that, I went into the diary room, opened up a big silver briefcase, right? And inside that briefcase is kind of some foam padding type area. And inside, attached to that foam were, how many? There were 3 people gone now. I guess like 13 house keys or 12, because they didn't have mine in there. But all the house keys are lined up in this briefcase. And I was told that, okay, Cliff, now is the time. You need to pick who are the 2 people that you want to nominate. Once you've decided, take those 2 keys, stick them into this box. And they said, once you stick the key in the box and turn it or stick it in, I remember which was. Once they stick a key in, that's it. You once you've decided here in the diary room, there's no changing. If you suddenly at some point after this say, oh, I want to change, then there'll be a penalty nomination. I don't remember if it was me or how it works, but the key is that I had to make my decision right then, and they made it clear that once you decide and you leave this room, that's it. So I remember taking those keys for Jack and Mickey, looking at them thinking, God, this is that I'm picking 2 strong people who may really blow back on me and come after me. But I picked those 2, stuck it in there, thought, all right, well, now that's it. And at that point, then I was allowed to leave, and I think I took the box with me. And then they had everyone come to the table. We did nominations. So I don't remember how I got started on that, but yeah, that's how the nomination actually works. Is instead of doing the key wheel, is how it works. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see if they're going to be a little bit more serious. I do think it'd be fun if they had some throwback competitions to some of the earlier stuff that, I don't know, food comps would be kind of cool. Putting people in teams that maybe doesn't match up with the alliances that form. So maybe you're suddenly having to work with some people that you may be planning on booting the next day or 2, but you got to work with them to win the food or the luxury or whatever. I'd like to see some of the old school stuff. We'll see. I don't know. I'm just happy it's less than a month before the new season starts. Let's go. I'm so excited. The best time of the year. All right. Zachary Weiss. Man, Zachary, I've been seeing so many posts from Zachary with different people. It's always fun to see all the people you know. Zachary saying, which hot dog brand is your favorite? I don't know. Whichever's the spiciest. I like regular hot dogs, but I also like I like the jalapeno spiced ones, which they sell a lot of down here in Texas. I like them spicy. I like sausage links maybe as opposed to just the basic Frankenfurter link type things. I love going to a baseball game, getting a big old long foot long hot dogs. I don't care so much about the weenie part of it because I don't investigate too much because I don't want to know what I don't need to know. I'm a lot more concerned about the toppings that you put on top of it. Me personally, I'm a cheese and mustard guy. Sometimes you can throw on a little bit relish. If you got chili available, load it up with chili. Put some jalapenos, sliced jalapenos on the top as well. I'm always cool with that. Never been a ketchup guy on my hot dogs. I think that may be a little further north or something. I don't know. But yeah, just straight up mustard and cheese. So, but I'm not picky. I think give me a hot dog and it's not like I'm going in a fresh French restaurant to order hot dogs, right? That's just a comfort food. We had some in the Big Brother house, I think, but I don't remember eating them a whole lot. Big Brother house, I had just a whole lot of warmed up bologna and cheese sandwiches and things like that, fried egg sandwiches, stuff like that. I wasn't real picky in the house. There were people in the house who were very focused on food during my season, right? If y'all recall, me, it wasn't worth messing with. If they wanted to deal with cooking dinner every night and all, whatever. I'll fix me some snacks throughout the day and you fix what you want. And I certainly would eat. I was always careful though. I rarely fixed the meals because there were people who really wanted to be the chefs in there. But I always tried to help with the preparation a little bit and I always washed the dishes because I figured that was a task that maybe no one else wanted. If they were all through eating and they saw me in there scrubbing all the dishes and everything, then no one would ever accuse me of not putting in my fair share because I sure didn't want to get booted out of the house because someone said, that lazy guy, he never does anything. So I did a lot of dishwashing while I was in the house, which is fine. I don't mind doing that whatsoever. It takes a little bit longer, makes you look very busy there for a while. But yeah, I'm not too picky, Zachary, and my hot dogs. All right, Wyatt Garrett saying going to see Chris Colston and Pat Green from Weatherford, Texas, 4th of July. Spark in the Park. Going to Billy Bob's to see Joe Nichols. That's pretty cool. I've seen Pat Green. I have not seen the other two. Never been to Weatherford. Is just outside Fort Worth, west of Fort Worth. It's one of my favorite small towns because it still has the courthouse and the town square. It looks like a typical small town. Hadn't changed that much over the years. That's cool. Pat Green. I love Wave on Wave. He's got a lot of songs. I love me some Pat Green music. So have fun on your 4th. I personally, Sharon and I, we're going to go over. We're going to do some grilling. We're going to hang out by the pool at my daughter's house. My daughter and my son-in-law's house. There's some fireworks just across the road, basically from them where they live. So we're gonna grill, hang out at the pool, then watch fireworks in the evening. That's pretty good. We spent the weekend. We went up to a lake and hung out at the lake. Did a little fishing. Nothing to brag about. But did a little fishing. A whole lot of just laying around, reading and relaxing and just enjoying the outdoors. You know, as much as I complain about being hot, sometimes it's nice to get up underneath a shade tree, kick back, watch the water in front of you, and just enjoy a little bit slower life there for a couple days. So we did that. I did a little work while I was up there. I put down a lot of Gatorade. I drank enough Gatorade because it was 110 degrees. Something. It was so hot. Sharon's making me drink Gatorade every 30 minutes. I'm amazed I don't have scales just because of all the Gatorade I drank. But she took care of me. But yeah, we had fun this weekend, just laying around enjoying it. Now we're gonna celebrate the 4th a little bit. Yeah, I have some fireworks, right? So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. What are y'all doing now? Wyatt's going to Weatherford. Y'all doing fireworks again? It's kind of weird on Tuesday because I know there's some places they're doing fireworks tonight. If that's the case, thank you for being with me. Some places doing it tonight, some places doing it tomorrow. It's just all kind of twisted up this year, right? So let me know what y'all are up to. All right, not enough copy is saying I'm so ready for Big Brother. Average second, my kids are already August 2nd. My kids are already back in school. Well, that's the hard part because it's starting so late. There's going to be people already in school. I know Ma's get worried about watching Big Brother in school and all that. And you got kids starting up, which in your case, not enough copy. That may actually work better, right? I was a huge fan of Big Brother, but I know for the first few seasons that I watched one season 8 and got hooked on it. Got Sharon involved in the next season, so she watched it. But we would watch it. It was on Showtime or Replay. We didn't necessarily watch the first couple of seasons live because we had young kids and there's some Big Brother especially my season, all hooking up and all that. Right? But there's certainly some things about Big Brother that a little tougher sometimes for younger kids to watch. So it wasn't until our kids were a little bit older that we started watching it as a family and talking about it a lot more as a family and everything else. But yeah, for you, if the kids already in school, you may have a little more time for the live feeds now, which is cool. But if not, I got you covered. I got you taken care of, at least the nighttime stuff. All right, REM saying, what do you hope for Big Brother 25? I want people in there that are, there's a lot of things. I want people that are in there fighting to win all the time. I want people who create drama and chaos, all the stuff that I hated as a participant, but as a viewer, I want to see. I want to see it down and dirty and all that. But having said that, I also want people who don't resort to the personal attacks, right? We have some in my season. Every season you have some things that just cross a line from playing a game and getting a bit personal, right? You don't need to do that. It's a game. At the end of the day, if I'm playing in the World Series of Poker, heck, if I'm playing my family in Monopoly or Risk or Dominoes or something, it's a game. When I get done, I would hope that I should be able to stand up, shake hands with everyone else, congratulate them on winning, or more likely, probably say you played a good game, but you aren't going to beat the old boss hog. But you know what I mean. You play the game, then you move on. Last season, we had some really personal stuff, right? And I hate to see that. When I was in the house, I told everyone, I said, when we get out, I hope we're able to stay together as a family. It didn't work 100%. You know, it never does, but that was truly my intention. And I'd like to see that this time. So play as hard as you can, but don't make it personal in there. Now, individual things, I do not want to see a first week or a first night, even a first week eviction. I want everyone to have a fair shot to play a little bit of their social game in there, to let everyone get to know them. When you have that first day eviction, people are forced to rely a little bit on stereotypes and associate with people that they may feel the most comfortable with. I just think it creates all kinds of issues that we shouldn't have to deal with. So no evictions on the first day or the first week. Give it a little time to develop. I want to see people not know what is going to happen the next week. We were in there. We kind of knew when the double eviction was. We kind of knew to expect BB Comics at a certain point in time. Shake it up. I do the wall the second week, or do BB Comics early, or don't have a double eviction. Have a triple eviction or something. Change things up so much in the first couple of weeks that everyone in that house is like, I don't know what's going on. I have no clue what's going on. I want to see a little bit more variety in terms of the competitions. I personally, as a little bit older player than some of the other people in there, would love to see a little bit more of a return to some of the mental challenges, as opposed to just the purely physical stuff that we've seen for the past few years. I truly think in a lot of ways, if I'd played 10, 15 years earlier where you had more of the mental competitions and such, I don't know. I think I did pretty well anyway, but I think I might have had even just a little bit more of a chance to make it to the final end. So I'd love to see a little bit of variation from that. But more than anything else, I just want to see people playing hard while they're in there. And when they get done, shake hands, move on with life. I do not want to see people in that house that are only there because they see it as a gateway to get into other celebrity opportunities, just as a gateway to become a social influencer or to shill whatever beauty product, shirt, vacation, whatever it may be. I want people there because they love Big Brother, not just because they see it as an opportunity to do something else on down the road. And unfortunately, I think we see a little bit of that pop up as well. Who knows? I want to see people have fun playing the game. That's at the end. I want to see them passionate and have fun playing the game. So there you go. All right, REM, is Jack your background picture? No, let me show you my background picture. Sorry, I was outside all weekend long. I think I got a little pollen and allergies and all that. So bear with me a little bit. No, that's not Jack. But thank you for that, because it's actually me. Yeah, I know Jack and me, the similarities are very similar. You don't know how many times I get asked if I'm Jason Momoa and maybe played Aquaman in my past. So yeah, I'm like Indiana Jones. I'm the fourth sequel when Aquaman's a little bit older. No, that's not me. That's not Jack. That's me. I put that up there because I remember that so well. That is a picture from my time in the house on 4th of July. Now remember, July 3rd, CBS did not want to have the live eviction episode on 4th of July night, which happened to be a Thursday in 2019. And so for the first 2 weeks of our season, our episodes showed on Tuesday and Wednesday. And then Wednesday was the first week. It was a double episode, introduction to all the castmates on our house guest on Tuesday. On Wednesday was when I got banished, had to fight my way back into the house and all of that. The following week, then, Tuesday was, I guess, a nomination or the veto episode. And then, which Sam used to pull me off the block. Thank you, Sam. And then Wednesday was actually the eviction episode instead of your typical Thursday night. So Wednesday night was July 3rd back then. Ovi got voted out. I killed me. I wanted Ovi in that house so badly. He and I were the alliance. Nicole and I happened just a little bit later, but originally it was Ovi and I. Of course, Ovi, I found out later, did alliances with a whole lot of people in there. Don't fault him for it. That's the way you play the game early. But Ovi got sent out the door, and then Julie surprises us and says, "Oh, no, Ovi, you aren't going anywhere because of the battle back competition. You're back in the house." Yeah, so happy to see it. David was also back in the house, which I was fine with. It was, there's a part of me, you're in a house. Every time someone goes home that's not you, you think, all right, I'm one person closer. I'm one person closer. I'm one person closer. So you kind of want to see people going home. But Ovi sticking around, David coming back in. I felt like both of them were outsiders from this group that I was seeing it develop. So the more help we could get, we couldn't really make it happen early in the season, unfortunately. But yeah, I was glad to see them both back in there. I was so happy that David actually got to experience time in that Big Brother house because I knew what it was like. It easily could have been me on day one instead of David. And I know how much that would have absolutely broken my heart. So I really empathize with David. So when I saw him come back in and he had the biggest smile on his face, it was a cool July 3rd. Now, unfortunately, later in that evening, Jack won HOH, which I already knew was part of this big alliance and not what I wanted. But that's a whole nother story to tell. But anyway, so that was July 3rd. July 4th was after the nominations had been made, I think. We may not have had nominations till the next day. I think that's the case. So we didn't know who was nominated. Everyone was hanging out, a lot better terms with each other. Ovi is the one that came up with the idea of doing a slip and slide in the backyard. And that's what you're seeing on here. Took a whole lot of trash bags. And RM, you're right. When the slippery comp, HOH. Well, no, actually, if you're talking about slip and slide, that's a lot later in the season. That is day 58, 65 or 72. Can't believe I don't remember those days anymore. No, this wasn't the slip and slide competition that Jackson Mickey won. This is just Ovi said, hey, what if we took this old slippery artificial turf, artificial grass, and put all of our trash bags from the storage room, taped them all down, and made a giant slip and slide, which is what we did. So in case you're curious, in the storage room, those big trash cans, these are the bags that go inside it. So we got all these things, took some tape that I think Big Brother gave us, taped it all together. They gave us a water hose, which normally we didn't have back there. But they gave us a water hose, and we used that to spray down this thing, and we all would run, jump, slide across the yard on this thing. It was a lot of fun. We had a blast. But I will tell you this. As soon as Ovi suggested it and they start putting this stuff together, all I could think is, I can't believe Big Brother's going to let us do this because someone is going to break a freaking arm or leg sliding on this stuff, right? And all I could think was back when Christmas broke her leg. Was it Jason that she was jumping on top of and horsing around and she falls and breaks her leg? I thought the same thing's going to happen here. People started sliding on this slip and slide, and I didn't want to not do it myself. I was doing everything I could to fit in with everyone else in the house, including having fun, letting them laugh at me a little bit at my expense. And, you know, you think they may have laughed at this? Yeah, they laughed a lot, but I didn't care. Uh, but when I lined up to do this, I remember just thinking, God, please don't let me get hurt. Please don't let me get hurt. I run full speed. I did kind of a Superman jump in the air, belly flop right in the middle of these trash bags. Had a little bounce to. I tend to bounce when I hit the ground. A little bounce, slid all the way along this thing, made it just about to the very end. And the whole time I'm thinking, don't slide off the side and have a huge artificial turf burn down half your body, or or hit somewhere, hit someone. I made it to the end. Everyone cheered. Everyone laughed. I jumped up and did a ta-da. And then to myself, I said, that's it. That's the one time I'm doing this because I don't want to mess with it anymore. We were lucky. No one got hurt. And so they got some good clips there. But yeah, so I put this up here because I just found this clip not too long ago, and 4th of July and all. I figured it was appropriate. We had fun. That was one of the few days in the house where we were more or less all on good terms. No one was giving each other a hard time. They shut down around 7 o'clock or so on the 4th of July night. They shut down the live feeds, and we knew they shut it down because they started playing 4th of July music, dun, 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 that kind of stuff. And all of a sudden we hear all these explosions on the TV screen. We run into the main living room area, look at the screen, the TV that normally we see Julie Chin on during live evictions and all that. And there's fireworks going on over some city. We're like, oh, this is really cool. All right. So we watched the fireworks for 10 minutes or so. It's like, all right, 4th of July. This is pretty neat. Well, then we realized this isn't live. This isn't even downtown LA or anything. They just had a video of fireworks looped. And so every 10 minutes, it would just show the same thing over and over again. But, you can only watch fireworks so long. And so pretty quickly, we were like, yeah, okay, I've seen that. Been there, done that. But they actually also had delivered a whole bunch, if I recall, a whole bunch of pies. Cherry pies, apple pies, peach pies, everything you could imagine. So we had a big pie festival to celebrate the 4th of July, which that was cool. Just to take a little break. I think they all got away from the 4th of July music, played just some regular music. I think that may be the time that they played Bohemian Rhapsody, and everyone in the house knew that song except for Nick. And he looked at us and said, how do y'all all know the words of this song? I think all of us at once looked at him and said, how do you not know all the words of this song? We're singing at the top of our lungs. We're having a blast. Nick had never heard Bohemian Rhapsody. Definitely a cultural black spot in Nick's life that he hadn't heard that. I need to check back and see if he's listened to it since then. But anyway, we did that. We had a lot of fun. Here's something that was interesting. Someone had heard that on the 4th of July, oftentimes the CBS studios there in Burbank would open their doors up for people to come in and do like a 4th of July festival, that you could walk through the different, the roads between the sound stages. And I guess they maybe had a little concert and some fireworks. And so we were all excited thinking, all right, well, we obviously can't participate, but if they've got a concert going on, maybe we'll be able to hear it. Maybe we'll be able to hear people talking, or at least have something different in the backyard. Nothing at all. And later we found out they didn't have it that year for, I don't remember what was going on. There's something had happened, and they ended up canceling as too hot. Maybe it was hot in that backyard, but they didn't have it, which disappointed us. What we did have was, for those of you who don't know, you got the Big Brother house. You've got this big concrete culvert that's just off the CBS property. And then you've got apartments or condos or something on the other side of that culvert. Well, someone at that complex had a very loud speaker, and it was playing music. And it was just loud enough, if we were all quiet, you could pick up the beat. And sometimes you could actually hear enough to know what song it was. Not loud. If we could have yelled at them to turn it up, we certainly would have. Not loud enough we could hear the songs really well, but just enough you'd pick up on a little bit when the wind was blowing just right. And it let us we still couldn't sing because we were on live feeds, but you could kind of hum to yourself and at least feel like you were enjoying the 4th, sitting out by the pool, listening to a little music, and have fun. We probably had a few watermelons around there for 4th of July. Had a lot of watermelons during my season, but yeah, it was a pretty interesting way to spend that particular 4th of July. All right. Amanda Lowe saying, how long were you sequestered before entering the Big Brother house? I've tried to think of that, Amanda. I think we started on, now I can't remember. I want to say like the 25th or something. No, I think it's like the 18th. I may be wrong. I have to go back and check, but I think we may have started actually in the house on the 18th, and I was snatched on, I think, June 13th, plus or minus, but I think it was June 13th. So I spent about 5 days in sequester, and I was one of the, I think, later sequestered. I think there were quite a few people that were snatched up to 3 or 4 days ahead of me. So I spent 5 days. I think others spent 8, 9 days, something like that. But yeah, so it's about 5 days. But again, that was before COVID. It was before they were quite as concerned about illnesses and all that. Here's what happened. I got sequestered first day, and there was always seemed like there's a little bit going on. People had to come up, look through your entire suitcase, look through every bit of your clothing, and say, all right, this has a logo on it you can't carry in the house. This one has this, you can't have that. I had a NASA shirt that I really wanted to wear in the house. And I said, oh, NASA's a logo, and we probably aren't going to let you carry that in the house because it's a government thing and it's so hard to get approval. Well, other people wore NASA shirts later, so I don't know what the deal was with it, but they wouldn't let me have that. They wouldn't let me have my white straw cowboy hat because it would wash out the cameras too much. So one day, going through all of that stuff to get it taken care of, there was a time when people came by and showed us how to put our microphones on, how to put our microphone pack on, what was involved in changing things out and everything. So they gave us some of the basics of how that worked. We had a long list of things to fill out of your favorite music, your favorite foods that you can't stand. Do you have any allergies? All kinds of stuff. So if you won HOH, they would know how to populate your basket, what music to put on. So there was a lot of that stuff that you were supposed to fill out. We had one day that was press day where we just one after the other talked to all these different reporting people, did our diary room session with Jeff Schroeder. Now remember, all this stuff is taking place inside the room except for press day, and they kept us apart from each other. We never saw each other. They were very careful about that. And then we had a day where they took press photos for the promos, and you'd go from one location to the other, and they'd give you a bunch of floats and say, okay, do what you want. Just act silly holding the swan float or the beach ball or boxing gloves or whatever. And they took our professional photos that they showed for the introductions and things like that. And so it seemed like there was always something going on just about every single day, but they made sure that we didn't interact with anyone that wasn't part of Big Brother. And that absolutely under no circumstances did we ever see each other whatsoever. God, they were so strict on that. That was amazing. I remember before they did some of the promotional photos and everything, remember they used to do the intros, and mine, I think I'm looking away, I turn towards the camera and I do something like this. Yeah, and that was fun. But they brought me in the makeup before that, and the two people were there, and they said, hey, Cliff, yeah, do you mind if we put a little makeup on you, take down the shininess and do some things for before we do this? Are you okay with that? It's like, yeah, do whatever you want to do. Make me feel pretty or make me look prettier. I'm all for it. I don't care. That's fine with me. Put your makeup on. But I remember sitting there while two different people are working on my hair and my makeup and everything and thinking, all right, I didn't expect as a 54-year-old guy that I would ever be sitting here while people are working on makeup and everything else. That's when I knew things were really getting ready to change, when I got all these people all swarming around me doing things like that. But they made me look pretty. I guess. I was, hey, any help you can give me, I'm all for it. Go for it, guys. So that was fun. All right, let's see. Ma, going to Dollywood. Oh, in Pigeon Forge, right? Going to Dollywood next week. Have you ever been there? Dad says thank you. Well, good. Oh, happy birthday to him. I have not been to Dollywood, and it's Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, Kentucky. I think that's where it's at. I have not been, but I would love to go. I think it'd be fun. Sharon and I have talked about doing a little trip to Nashville, because we love country music. Going to Nashville, seeing the sights there, and then hitting all around, including a trip to Dollywood. Dollywood is one of my, she's an icon, right? She's done so much over the years. Incredible singer, incredible songwriter, incredible actress. I love Best of the Little. If you have not watched Best of the Whorehouse in Texas, Dolly Parton and Burt Reynolds. Now, you take Burt Reynolds singing, combine it with Dolly Parton singing, and you probably have about an average singing performance, but it's only because Burt Reynolds, he's great at acting. We'll just leave it at that. But Dolly Parton, she was great in Best Little Whorehouse. The movie has my Texas A&M Aggies in it. Another reason I love it. And it's Texas and all that, but I love that musical. But yeah, Dolly Parton has done so much, and she's never gotten in trouble. I mean, she just seems to be a very, very nice person. And I know she donates so much money to the community and all that. Just one of my favorite people. Someday I'd love to meet her and just say hello and thank you. But yeah, no, I've never been, but I'd love to go. That'd be a lot of fun. I think it'd be a lot of fun. All right, Mark Taylor. How is BB going to get around Thursday football and college football? Now, you know what? I hadn't even thought about Thursday night football. Yeah, ESPN. Yeah, I don't know. I would think ESPN Thursday night football is well, NFL too, right? I mean, it seems like NFL's on just about every night nowadays. Yeah, in the middle of sports season or overlapping a sports season, it's going to be tough. You're going to have, I mean, I know there's Big Brother fans that don't care about football. There's football fans that don't care about Big Brother reality TV, but you got a lot they're right there in the middle, including myself. I don't know. Thank God for DVRs and cloud storage services and all of that, right? I don't know how I'm gonna handle it. I guess I'll probably watch Big Brother live. I'll record the football game, and that way, then once Big Brother's over, then I can go to the football game and rush through the commercials and all that. And I say that only because I would not record Big Brother and watch it later, because especially on Thursday nights, you never know when you're going to have a live HOH competition and things like that. So I don't know. And Sunday nights are always so screwed up, at least here on the Central Time Zone and the East Coast. Maybe not so much out in Rocky Mountain and Pacific, but here, football games on Sunday always run late, which means Big Brother starts later than it's supposed to. So if you've tried to record it, now you only get half the show, which means every Sunday night we end up recording 4 or 5 hours worth of CBS. I think they do that on purpose, just so we make sure we get Big Brother. But not even just watching, but it's just going to not get the same level of attention because everyone's going to be talking about college football and all that. So yeah, that's the drawback to it. But if that's what it takes to get Big Brother this season, I don't care. Now, on the other hand, yes, you're going to have football and sports and stuff interfering because we'll have baseball as well. You're going to have all of that interfering with it, but you aren't going to have a whole lot of other TV because of the writer's strike. So if it's not reality TV and it's not sports, there may not be nearly as much competing for viewership. So maybe it works out for the better. We'll find out. But yeah, I'm going to be doing a little TV watching this fall. All right, REM saying, was the morning music the Beach Boys? There was some Beach Boys. We didn't have any say on what music was played every morning. But I know Beach Boys, they played a couple times, and one of the ones they played, which was one of my favorites, it was, we're having fun all summer long, all summer long. Yeah, it just made me feel good. Every once in a while, they threw in a lot of music that was newer music, right? DJ Khaled and things like that, where it was like, okay, I like it, but I don't really, it's not something I listen to as much. But every once in a while, they would throw in an older song, a Beach Boys song, or Lovely Day by Bill Withers. Maybe my favorite song of all time, just about. They played that one time. I went acting like a goofball running through the house, telling everyone, oh, this is one of my favorite songs. I love this song, singing at the top of my lungs. They're like, okay, Cliff. So they did that. But they also played Lizzo. I can't hear Check My Nails Looking Good as Hell. I can't hear that song without thinking of Big Brother because they played it several times to wake us up in the morning. And so in my brain, I always associate Lizzo and that song with Big Brother. And I always will. But they played that. They played Bad Girl by Billie Eilish, which I love. I had not heard that song, I don't think, until I got in the house. Maybe I'd heard it once or twice. But I remember asking Christy, saying, who is this singing this? I love this song. Oh, it's by Billie Eilish. Oh, I love it. And then I walk off, and I found out that she goes to Jack. So, yeah, he's kiss ass. He's just saying he likes that stuff. He doesn't know anything about this song. Well, no, I really did really like the song, and I still do. What? I'm not a bad girl. I'm the bad guy. I love the song. But yeah, so they played all different kinds of music. I went in once or twice to the diary room and said, hey, you don't have to tell anyone I made the request, but it sure would be cool if you played some George Strait or some country music or, different things. They'd say, Cliff, we can't accept requests. I'd say, I know. I'm not really requesting. I'm just mentioning there's other genres of music out there. And if you were just looking for songs to play, there are some. Never worked. Never worked at all. Now, here's what's funny. Before we move off of the music, the very first song they played the very first morning was the song. I can't even think who sings it now. If I was a millionaire, if I had $1 million, I'd go buy me a orange monkey or something. I don't remember it. It was whoever the song was, and y'all help me out because I just can't remember it now. It was all about if I had $1 million, all the things I would buy. I didn't realize that was a real song. I thought it was something that they were just playing. And so I'm listening to this song. I've got my ears right up against one of the speakers in the house, trying to remember all the things that they're saying in the order they're saying them in, because I thought it was part of a competition. No, it was just a song, but I didn't know. I thought it was part of competition. And I mentioned that later in the season, and Tommy said, yeah, I saw you really paying attention to that song and listening and everything. He said, I wasn't really sure what was going on. I said, yeah, I didn't know it was real. That was my little black hole of cultural stuff. I didn't know. I found out later, and now I listen to it and I laugh about it, that I was so intent on remembering everything in that song. You don't know, especially the first few days in the house, you don't trust anything or anyone. Everything may have something to do with a twist. So you pay attention to everything in the house. That wasn't the case in that point, but yeah, I listened pretty strongly to that song. All right, is Ovi still with Hannah? Well, I'll do that one. I'll come to the other one. Sorry, I'll read them. Yes, Ovi and Hannah are still together. I saw Ovi and Hannah, I don't know, about a month ago or so. They came down to Galveston to go on a cruise, and so I picked Ovi and Hannah up at the airport. Drove them down to Galveston. We had to stop at Buc-ee's on the way, so I showed them Buc-ee's, which is famous convenience store down here, and we did that. We ate lunch together and just hung out for the day in Galveston. I pointed out a bunch of stuff. We had a blast. Yeah, they're still together. In fact, Hannah is competing right now for the Ms. New York. I don't know if it's attached to Ms. America or Ms. USA. I can't remember which of the two it is, but anyway, she's doing a little representing, trying to represent as Ms. New York for a beauty pageant, which is kind of cool. But yeah, Ovi and Hannah are still good. Two of my favorite people. I love them. All right, who opened the awnings on your season? You and Ovi? All of us. Whoever was out there would have to open the awnings. It would, the live you probably heard on live feeds, but the Big Brother voice would come on and say, please open the awnings or please close the awnings. And so in the morning when the sun came up enough, I guess if you didn't have the awnings, then the sun would hit that glass. You get a lot of reflection. The cameras wouldn't work well. So as soon as the sun started coming up, we would have to go open those things all up. It was whoever was in the backyard. If there were two of us, we were stuck doing it. If there were four of us, two of us would take one side, two would take the other. They were kind of heavy, and you had to be a certain height to be able to reach up and set these things in place and all that. So typically it turned out to be the guys doing it. Poor Nicole, she struggled a little bit more with some of the awnings just because size and weight and all that. But it's whoever's out there, and then in the evenings they'd say the same. You'd have to set them back down and move them back. And I never minded doing it because lots of times it's just whoever you were nearby. You'd say, all right, well, we'll go do it. And so it sometimes gave me a chance to interact with Jack or Nick or Sis or just whoever happened to be there. Maybe get just a few minutes to talk to someone that normally maybe they wouldn't want to talk to you that much, or you didn't have a lot of conversations. And normally you didn't have a lot of conversations when you're doing the awnings, serious stuff, but it's still just a chance to check in with people and say, hey, how you feeling? Or, it's been a good day. Or I hope y'all are still talking about what I thought y'all were talking about. So I never minded doing it. I felt like anything that I could interact with someone else for just a few minutes was fun. But yeah, there were days where we were sitting there and you just get relaxed, enjoy. The sun was just going down. It was starting to cool down a little bit in the backyard. You just wanted to chill out with your tumbler with some Gatorade and some ice in it, or whatever soft drink. Just kick back and relax, and you'd hear that voice was like, oh my gosh, here we go again. And because I typically was up in the morning before a lot of other people, I got a lot of the morning duties. I'd get out there, I'd have me a bowl of cereal halfway into the cereal, and that would come out, and it's what it is. They could easily have some kind of mechanical retractor that does that thing automatically, right? Now, first of all, I don't think they want to spend any money they don't have to, but it's just like they could have a dishwasher inside the Big Brother house as well. But I think they want to force you to do a certain amount of labor because it forces you to interact with other people. So yeah, no, it wasn't anyone but us inside that house that did those awnings every day. Open, close, open, close. That's the way it worked. All right. Johnny's saying Bare Naked Ladies, saying that song. Thank you. Yeah, that makes sense. I've looked it up before. Thank you. I didn't know it at the time, but I know it now. Thank you. I had to look that up when I got done. It's a great song. I just thought there was a twist to it. All right. And Billie Eilish song is Bad Guy. Yeah, thank you. I need to listen to it. I listened to it. So you know how you listen to a song so much for a couple of months, and after a while, you're like, all right, I need to move on. My Spotify playlist is just going to show your top 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 songs are all the same song. So, yeah, that's kind of like that. I love that song. I like a lot of her songs, which, look at me. No one would expect me to be a huge Billie Eilish fan, but I love all kinds of music. There's very little music that I don't listen to. All right. Marian's saying, did you sleep in the same bed the whole time? No, I didn't. And it's interesting because I didn't. Part of it was strategy. Part of it was the fact that some rooms got hotter than others and were more comfortable than others. I started off sleeping in, if you remember, we had a target room. One of the back bedrooms had 2 big archery targets and then a bed that was shaped like an archery deal. And Ovi and I were sharing a bed together for the first 3-4 weeks, whatever it was. And I was in there, which was fine. I didn't mind that bed at all. But as people started going home, eventually, I think Sam was on the one of the 2 beds that was outside the RV we had during our season. Eventually, once Sam went home, I feel like I started sleeping outside. Oh, I know when it was. When we had the pie, when I got the pie punishment, I started sleeping outside the RV room for a little while. Because they kept waking us up in the middle of the night to hit each other with pies and all that. And I didn't want to bother people too much. So I started sleeping out there for a little while. I realized after a while, it was a little bit cooler out in that room as compared to inside that archery room. And I guess I sleep hot because I was really hot lots of times. And when you're hot in that room, what do? You either, because I also like to sleep under covers. I like it cold with covers pulled over me. Well, that Big Brother house was not cold. It was hot. So I was forced to either sleep and just be miserable and hot and sweaty, or just sleep with nothing on and just sleep there in my underwear, which didn't bother me, but I knew it'd bother my wife and my mom and all that. So I ended up going out into the outer room where it was a little bit cooler. I also was less worried about my snoring, irritating people, because I didn't want to get voted out for snoring or anything else. So I spent a lot of time out there. And here's the other kicker too. I also did it because for a while, Tommy was sleeping in those beds outside the RV room. And I realized after a while, every time I got up to go to the bathroom, he was awake, or at least he would kind of raise up a little bit. He was keeping track of everyone who was leaving either the RV room or the archery room. He knew when people left. He knew approximately when they came back. And I figured out after a while, he was monitoring to make sure if one person got up, like I'd get up, go to the bathroom, come back 5 minutes later, it didn't bother him. But if I'd gotten up and gone somewhere, and a little bit later, Nick went somewhere, a little bit later, Nicole went somewhere, Tommy knew that 3 of us maybe were in that bathroom talking, things like that. So being in another room helped a little bit in terms of watching and keeping track and all that. So I also slept out there. And then towards the end, I slept in the inside the RV room a few times, but that was primarily the girls' room for the most part. And so I really didn't. I know one time when we had the clowns that were so scary, Nicole was a little nervous, so she slept in one bed. I slept in the bed on the other side of the room, but stayed in there just because she was a little worried that they were going to show up in the middle of the night. And then later, when there were so few of us in the house, we really started spreading out. And Mickey and Holly were in the target room, which suddenly is like, all right, well, if you're in a target room, I'm not sleeping in the target room, even though they told me it didn't bother them if I was in there, which obviously is true based on what they did with all kinds of people in that room. But I didn't want to be in there. So I said, yeah, y'all do whatever you're going to do. I'll be sleeping in one of these other rooms. So I shifted around a little bit, but my original room was the archery room, the target room. And I like, it's my favorite room. It just got a little hot in there. So yeah, I switched it up a little bit. All right, Marion, do you have an email I can send long-winded questions to? Reach out to me on DM. Ask me if we need to go into more detail. We can follow up with something else. So yeah, we'll start that way. And if we need to go differently, we can certainly do it. But send me a DM. I try to, whether on Twitter or Instagram or here on YouTube, depending on whether it's a private question or a public question. But shoot me a DM. I always am looking. I'd like to think I always respond. Yeah, sometimes it takes a few days, but I always respond. So yeah, reach out to me that way, and we'll see how we need to go. Wow, it's 7:58. That's so quick. All right. Wow. Well, what else was I going to talk about? I had all kinds of fireworks stories. We'll talk about that a little bit next week or something. I did want to mention I had a cool little shout out or communication. Remember Sorrell was on The Voice not too long ago. With Brian out here is related, and that was so cool. Well, there was someone else that reached out to me right after I was on Big Brother, and it was the Sharp Family Singers, specifically Logan, who's the oldest son in there, had reached out to me and said, hey, we're all huge fans of you. We love watching you play and just want to say hello. And so I reached back, talked to him a little bit. We chat back and forth a little bit. I started following them. They do all kinds of family singing and all that. Lo and behold, they were on America's Got Talent last week, and they did fantastic. They sang a song from Moana. They're just very, very talented. You know, I try to sing a little line here or there during the show, but obviously I'm not a singer. They are really good. They got a standing ovation from all 4 judges, including Simon. So they're really excited, really good. So I reached out after and said, man, that's so much fun watching y'all compete. And they came back, said thanks. And so we talked a little bit. So yeah, just I'm cheering for Sorrell on The Voice. I'm cheering for the Sharp Family Singers on America's Got Talent. So watch it. They're huge Big Brother fans, obviously. So with that in mind, if y'all get a chance, watch America's Got Talent. Watch for the Sharp Family Singers. We'll support them. Big Brother family will support them if they're fans. So yeah, just wanted to throw that out there as well. All right, guys, it is 8:00. All these stories, I'll follow them. Next week, y'all are gonna say, what in the heck is he doing talking about fireworks and stuff after 4th of July is long gone? And we may still talk about it anyway, because I got too many stories, but that's the way it goes. Guys, y'all have a fantastic 4th of July for those of you who are celebrating. If you're shooting off fireworks, be careful. They can be a little dangerous, fire and explosion. Be careful. If you're sitting out by the pool, make sure you stay hydrated. Get into the shade every once in a while, but enjoy it. If you're grilling out in the open grill, make sure that chicken's cooked all the way through. All lessons I've learned throughout life. But y'all have a fantastic 4th of July. Angie and those of you up in Canada, you're welcome to celebrate once again and celebrate us as well as your own holiday. But y'all have a great week. By the time we're here next Monday, 3 weeks to go. We're getting closer, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. So with that in mind, one final reminder, if you haven't already signed up for my YouTube channel, please consider doing so. Turn on notifications. Hit the thumbs up if you don't mind. I always appreciate that. And I will see y'all back here again next Monday. In between then and now, any of you got any questions, man, shoot me a DM. As I told Marianne, I love chatting Big Brother. An hour really isn't long enough, but we'll do what we can. Starting here in a few weeks, we'll have an hour every day, so or 15, 20 minutes. So anyway, guys, y'all have a great one. SKD143. Love my wife, love my kids, love all the reality TV fans. I especially love y'all. What a great way to spend a Monday. Have a great 4th. See y'all next Monday. Until then, guys, cheers, my friends. Bye. Dun, dun.